The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who likes to run around without a shirt on. Welcome, Jacob.
It's like, well, every once in a while, it's kind of rewarding, refreshing every once in a while. Why, thank you.
Some of us can't get away with that.
Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who just wants with world domination with long, flowing white hair. I don't know why he has white hair. Welcome, Drew.
You know, some days you just have to learn to let it go.
Okay,
Anna.
Whatever.
Also joining us and loving all this Disney commentary jokes we just threw at each other is the captain of the Retro Rewind Pod. Welcome, Francisco.
Hello, guys.
Or should I say Roy?
Hi, Roy.
No, you should not say that. Francisco. Let's say it together, all. Francisco.
We're not in California. There ain't no Golden Gate outside. Oakland is far away.
Been there, beautiful city.
I'm sure you have. How are you doing, Francisco?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. Well, the night's still young. We'll see how things transpire, but so far, so good.
Right.
Yes.
Anyway,
And that wasn't it to get you guys. That was more to get my life.
all right. Y'all ready to jump into the spoiler-free section of the review of Fire and Ice?
Yes.
Let's burn it up.
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
Francisco, why don't you lead us off?
All right. So
I think you're the only one who saw this before.
yeah, I saw it like as a very, very hardy 5-year-old, maybe. So this
What a movie to watch at 5. Wow.
Right? I don't know why. I mean,
Must have been the edited version.
I doubt it. Growing up, we were pretty much allowed to watch radar movies at a young age. I don't really know why. What my parents, I have some semblance of what my parents were thinking, but I'm not going to out them about that right now. Anyway, I did watch this when I was a kid. Maybe it's because my parents thought, oh, it's a cartoon, it's going to be fun. But yeah, not so much. Yeah, I did see it as a kid. I was excited to rewatch it again. I had not seen it for some time since I was 5. I don't know, maybe I'd seen it again as a preteen or teen. But I remember going to, I think it was a Portland City Comic-Con, and they had like someone, Artist Alley or someone had or maybe it was just a booth that had Fire and Ice on it, and I saw that awesome poster that you see whenever you like look up Fire and Ice. It's probably the cover image and stuff. I'm like, whoa, that's what it was like. Oh, I'd forgotten. Oh yeah, Fire and Ice, I can't remember that, and it must look as good as that. And we'll talk more about how it actually was later.
Oh, I have opinions.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, this is my first viewing of this film. And honestly, this might be the first Ralph Bakshi film I've actually watched, too. Which is,
okay. You've never seen Wizards?
I've not seen Wizards, and I've not seen the animated Lord of the Rings yet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he did Hobbit.
He didn't.
He didn't.
And I've only seen bits and pieces of that.
Hobbit.
Do what?
Rankin Bass did Hobbit.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was definitely a new experience. I don't know if I could suggest it for kids because there's some language in here, and all the ladies are dressed rather scantily.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind.
It was prehistoric era. What do you want? You want them to have like ballerina dresses and
no, not necessarily. I don't know what I would have
over here.
Considering the setting, I don't know what I would have preferred. I'm just giving people a heads up. But yeah, like we said, this is a prehistoric fantasy. and your mileage won't vary on how you feel about prehistoric fantasy. I don't think I'm a big fan.
Well, I'm curious. Have either of you guys ever seen Thundar the Barbarian?
Yes.
I
oh
have
my gosh,
not.
I love Thunder the Barbarian. Loved
So
it.
this sort of made me think of that. Though I think
It is.
Thundar is actually post-apocalyptic. It's not
Yes.
prehistoric.
It
but
is.
It has. I guess the vibe I got was similar.
Right.
Awesome.
But when we get into the writers, it'll make sense why they went with a prehistoric fantasy. So, Jacob, what are your thoughts?
This is my first time viewing this film. I put it on the list because I saw it was one of those underrated gems that like people are recommended, and I was like, I never heard of this. I saw the artist, and I was like, ooh, I really love his art. And Ralph Bakshi, I've heard of Ralph Bakshi. Like
You're
Drew
talking
said,
about Frank Frazetta's art.
Frank Frazetta.
Yeah,
Thank
Frank
you.
Frazetta.
Yeah,
Frank Frazetta. I love his art.
yeah.
I wish I could emulate some of that. That's amazing. And then obviously the director. And
Apparently, Thomas Kincaid could emulate some of his art since he was one of the background artists.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. He was. So, yeah, my first time viewing it, watching it was, I'd be like, from a visual standpoint, an artistic standpoint, I enjoyed it. The story itself, a little wibbly wobbly, a little bit here and there, and a little bit of why in the world would you target this towards kids?
I don't think this was targeted towards kids. Not from the director's, not from the creator's point of view. 20th Century Fox may have decided to do that, which is a weird motive.
Yeah,
but
it was PG.
Considering some of the language, I'm surprised it was. Well, this would have been before PG-13, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would have been.
That explains a lot.
83. So yeah, my first viewing, I enjoyed it for the most part. There are parts where it's like, what the world are you thinking? But if this was set towards more of an older audience, be like, yeah, it would have probably done better. But overall, I enjoyed it, but there's just a little here and there I have issues with.
Right. All right. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the spoiler-filled section, and we'll get to spoiling this thing.
Yeah.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Fire and Ice. Listener discretion is advised. Fire and Ice was directed by Ralph Bakshi, who also directed the animated Lord of the Rings from 1978. It was also written by Roy Thomas and Jerry Conway, who were very famous at Marvel and wrote the Conan the Barbarian comics over there.
Makes sense.
And the characters were created by Ralph Bakshi and Frank Frazetta. Getting into the cast, we have the physical model for Larn being played by Randy Norton. And something called Honky Tonk Freeway, he played Jeep Guy.
Jeep Guy,
Yes. However, William Ostrander was the voice, was actually playing his voice. And in the movie Christine, he played a character named Buddy. Cynthia Leek was the character model for Tigra. And in the Great Muppet Caper, she was one of the water ballet performers.
Really?
Yeah. But Tigra's voice was played by Maggie Roswell, who played Helen Lovejoy and Maude Flanders in The Simpsons.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'd be like, personally, I've watched maybe like one episode of The Simpsons before.
Maude Flanders is the one who famously died.
Ah, okay.
And was the wife of Ned Flanders, the heavily Christian making fun of character.
Oh, okay.
Stereotype.
Gotcha.
That's the word I'm looking for.
That's there we go.
Yes. Steve Sandor, who from what I can tell, must have been both the voice and the live action model for Dark Wolf. And in the Star Trek, the original series episode, Gamesters of Triskelion, he played a character named Lars. The character model for Necron was played by Sean Hannon, and he was an animator on the Smurfs 2.
The Smurfs 2?
Yes, the more recent Smurfs.
Yeah, I gathered. I was like,
action
films. Wait, when was there a Smurfs movie in the 80s?
No,
there wasn't one.
More modern than that.
Yeah, I knew that.
But the voice of Necron was played by Stephen Mendel, who played Splinter
And
in a Ninja Turtles franchise.
which one?
The Next Mutation.
Oh my gosh!
You know, the one made by Saban
Yes, with the turtle, with the
with Venus de Milo.
Oh my gosh!
True Splinter does not approve.
It's the less said about those Ninja Turtles, the better. You'll notice I never said Teenage Mutant because that's not what the show's called.
Yep, exactly.
And
Moving right along.
I want you to guess once again how many Kingdom Hearts
Ah.
connections?
How many connections? 1, 2, 4, 8. Let's go 4.
Try again.
2.
Try again.
High, low.
10.
Goose egg.
None.
Zip. Zippola. You get nothing. Good day, sir.
Okay, fine. I'm gone.
After we waited all this time for you to get
You're
here.
going to tell me that there's no fire and or ice in a Kingdom Hearts game?
There is, but none of the people who worked on this movie worked on worked on Kingdom Hearts in any way, shape, or form.
You didn't say Kingdom Hearts people connections.
That's what it's
connections.
been.
Oh well, maybe we need to change the rules up here. Go prehistoric on this.
You're right. There was plenty of chiseled pecs in Kingdom Hearts because of Hercules.
That's right.
There's your Kingdom Hearts connection.
Wow.
All right, Jacob, you want to give us some info and stuff on this?
Yes. So info and stuff. IMDb, it is a 6.5 out of 10. You can watch it on Tubi TV. And you can rent it most places.
Well, you can also watch it if you've got Amazon Prime, which is where I watched it.
Oh, okay.
And supposedly it's on Pluto somewhere.
Yeah, I tried watching on Pluto. I couldn't find it.
I'm not gonna say it's not there, but
Yeah.
anyway.
But who knows? New ones. All right. Production was Producers Cell Organization. That was producers.
Why does that remind me of Food Fight when in the quote
Oh
unquote
my
distributor
gosh, yes.
was the insurance company that
Yeah.
bought the product afterwards?
That sounds like it. That's probably what was the whole deal.
That's what it sounds like
All
with
right,
a name
this-
like Producer Sales.
Yes. Distribution was 20th Century Fox, now 20th Century Studios. Released on
For some reason, not on Disney Plus.
Oh, I wonder why.
I mean, not even on Hulu, which would make more sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But anyway,
Anyways, nuance. All right. Release date August 26th, 1982. I was but a wee lad. Very, very wee lad.
I was not even a twinkle in my daddy's eye.
I was 2.
You were 2. Okay.
I figured I was the young buck here.
All right. So box office at an estimated budget of $1.6 million. Its opening was $263,000 on August 28th, 1983. Its U.S. gross, $760,000. Its world gross is the exact same. This
Wow.
movie tanked. But apparently it's got a cult following, you know. Like most films like this have cult followings. All right, so home release.
You could say some of them are rewinding to their retro memories.
Yes, they could.
Wow.
That was a bad pun. I'm
It was.
sorry.
All right, home release. The film was released on VHS, Baymax. Baymax?
Wow. Big Hero 6, and there's your Kingdom Hearts connection.
Look at this connection.
Exactly.
Betamax. CED.
Did it come on 8-track also or Laserdisc?
No. Capacitance disc.
Capacitance and Laserdisc.
Ah.
Yeah. Back in the day when it was like you had players that were that big.
Let's just say when you hear one of those wind up, you don't want to be there if it ever lets loose.
Yeah. Just shattered everything in that computer. But all right, it was released by RCA Columbia Pictures Home Video in 1983. Good Time Home Videos re-released the film on VHS in 1988. In 2005, wait a minute. In 2005,
This means that 20th Century Fox no longer has the distribution rights to this
exactly.
film.
I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that.
Not if Good Times Video has it. I used to have some like old Gumby videos with that name on
Oh
it.
my gosh. All right, so
I think it was Gumby. It might have been something else.
in 2005, it was released on DVD by Blue Underground Entertainment on a limited edition 2-disc set, paired with a documentary Frazetta Painting with Fire about the film's co-creator and producer Frank Frazzetti. Am I saying that right?
It's close enough for me.
Okay, that'll work. The company later released the film on Blu-ray in 2008 and remastered it in 1080p video, and also as a remake. Apparently, it has a much newer release in 2008. So
Did it again. Okay, we're back.
okay, good. You never know.
I doubt it. I really do doubt it.
Who knows? So that is all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. From their citadel Ice Peak, the Ice Queen, Juliana, and her son, Necron, send forth a wave of glaciers. This forces humanity to retreat south towards the equator. Necron sends a delegation to fire the volcano. Ostensibly, the troops can abduct Jared's beautiful daughter, Princess Tigra. Juliana feels that Necron should take her as a bride to produce an heir. Tigra escapes her captors and comes upon a young warrior named Larn, the only survivor of a village destroyed by Necron's glaciers. The two grow close, but they become separated when Larn is attacked by a monstrous giant squid, and Necron's subhumans recapture Tigra. She briefly escapes again, but runs into the witch Relay. Is that how you say that? Yeah, I will go with that. And her son, Otwa, who really needs a haircut, who intends to use her as a bargaining chip for incurring Necron's favor. However, the subhumans simply kill them and take Tigra to Ice Peak. Necron refuses to marry Tigra in spite of his mother's plan, but keeps the princess as a hostage. While looking for Tigra, Larn encounters Darkwolf, a mysterious masked warrior who pursues a personal vendetta against Necron and Juliana. When Darkwolf holds off Necron's hordes, Larn continues his search and comes upon Rolay's remains, which briefly reanimate and tell him how to find the princess. At the same time, Gerald sends his son Prince Taro to Necron to bargain for Tigra's release. With Larn as a stowaway on their ship, Taro and his emissaries reach Ice Peak. Necron refuses to release Tigra and insults her, inciting Taro to attack him. Using his magic, Necron forces the prince and his delegation to kill each other. Larn infiltrates the ice fortress and is rescued by Dark. They travel to Firekeep to inform Gerald, who decides to give them time to penetrate Ice Peak and rescue his daughter until the glacier crosses the border to his realm, forcing him to release the lava from the volcano to destroy the advancing ice. With some help from Gerald's Dragonhawk riders, they assault the fortress, but only Darkwolf manages to reach Necron. Larn, stranded midway during the attack, finally finds and rescues Tigra from Juliana. Darkwolf slays Necron, but Necron's dying agony expands the glacier explosively, prompting Gerald to open the volcano's valves. The lava flows swiftly, overcomes the glacier, obliterating Ice Peak, Juliana, and the subhuman army. Larn and Tigra briefly succeed in escaping the cataclysm. When they encounter a wounded subhuman, Larn prepares to kill him, but Tigra stops him, and they embrace with a kiss. From atop a cliff, a smiling Darkwolf briefly watches the pair, then disappears. Getting into the trivia. This film was filmed with rotoscoping.
Yes.
Very painfully, obviously so. It was filmed with live action actors and actresses in black and white, with animation cells placed over every frame of the cast members to create an animation that's more fluid and realistic than standard animation. I have opinions, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
According to director Ralph Bakshi's commentary on the DVD, the animators found working with producer Frank Frazetta to be so daunting that some of them even fainted when Frazetta visited the set.
Mm.
The filmmakers had a real hard time finding an actress with the right voluptuous physique to play Tigra for the live-action version of the film. Interesting. Even though the rotoscope performers got top billing in the opening credits, Ralph Bakshi had some of the voices of the characters dubbed based on what he wanted and the abilities of the cast. For example, Cynthia Leek performing Tigra during the live action shoot. However, after the animation was done, Tigra was voiced by Maggie Roswell. Over 1,000 background paintings were done for the film. Moreover, 8 to 10 paintings were done per day. The stuntmen who played the subhumans found working with Frank Frazetta to be quite frustrating because he gave them very specific instructions on how to move.
Artist, right?
Yeah. Two young artists worked on the backgrounds of the film. Both went on to be famous in their fields, one being Thomas Kincaid, known as the Painter of Light, and James Gurney, creator and painter of the popular Dinotopia series of illustrated novels. They painted the backgrounds exclusively in the style of Frank Frazetta, who was producer on the movie. The two credited writers I already mentioned were both served as editor-in-chief at Marvel Comics in the 1970s. Thomas took over the position from Stan Lee in 72, and Conway held it briefly in 76. Darkwolf is never called by his name in dialogue in the movie. Tigra's panther, Shantain, is the Arabic word for Satan. And the two lead characters, Arn and Tigra, do not face each other until 31 minutes into the film and have approximately 7 minutes of shared screen time.
That's all you need for love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the trivia. So, Francisco, what is your first like for this film?
The thing that really resonated with me was how much the setup for this movie felt like a sort of your old school RPG. Like there's these two big forces opposing each other, and your character is just sort of caught in the middle. You're like just someone of no consequence, but you get sort of involved in the war through a bunch of either lucky or unlucky or providential events, and you go on to actually have some effect on how the bigger war escalates or the bigger battle escalates. So I really like that sort of setup with Larn being sort of that person that he could. I mean, a villager could have been that, but I sort of liked that overall the overall way they created the story in that way.
Jacob.
All right, my first like might be not controversial, but maybe a unfavored opinion. But
Okay.
I like the effort in which they did with the animation with the rotoscoping.
What the?
We'll get to that.
Now, granted, I'm not saying the animation in this movie is the greatest in the world. I'm not saying that.
I'm actually saying it is actually very good animation.
It is very good.
But there are some instances that I will have to talk about.
I agree. With rotoscoping being possibly the most difficult way to animate anything, past or present. Like it was an achievement to do the film the way they did. I know Ralph Bakshi did that. I know several animators did that throughout the 70s and 80s and the 90s. But I appreciate the effort and the grueling task of doing that frame by frame, and I applaud for what they did with the animation itself and how they accomplished it.
Right.
So Jacob, if you love like grueling animation work, you must really love Thief and the Cobbler. I mean, that must just be right up there for movies you enjoy.
Honestly, we
already voiced our opinions on Thief and the Cobbler.
I agree, but artistically, Thief and the Cobbler, I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the artistic expressions and the whole bit.
That's right. I just said that. What?
You did.
I didn't say I didn't. There weren't parts of Thief and the Cobbler I didn't.
Yeah.
I like. There are stuff.
Yes. But yeah, I enjoy the animation process in which they did, and there's some good animation there.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, do you also like more modern rotoscoping movies like Scanner Darkly? I know there's another one around that time period too, but I can't remember what it was.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I definitely have to look into it.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
What were you going to
So I'm going to jump in on this with my and say that there is a lot of good. The rotoscoping does help with a lot of the animation in this film, and it looks. A lot of it does look really good because you get a lot of.
It's very fluid.
It's very fluid. You actually get a lot of subtle detail from the actor's performance.
Mhm.
We'll get to that in a minute on some other instances, but I mean, you get it's very smooth. It's like the action feels very realistic, which admittedly you don't normally get with animation.
Agreed.
Stylistically, it does actually work, even if it's not really my preferred style. So I appreciate the amount of artistry that went into it.
All righty.
All right. So Francisco, what's your second like?
My second like is the man, the myth, Dark Wolf. I just this character. I loved his character design. He's my favorite character design of this whole movie. I thought Steve Sandorf, who voiced him, did a great job really bringing this character to life. And this was the one character that I wanted to see, like, if there were going to be the continued adventures of Fire and Ice or whatever, I would like to see more of this character's story, whether it was where he came from or his adventures after. I think I would have loved that. Or if this whole movie was focused on him, maybe.
I was about to say, if this whole movie was based on him, it would be much more enjoyable.
Yes. Instead of this odd romance between two characters
that are barely on screen together.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. But so I really like Dark Wolf. He was my probably my ultimate favorite thing about this movie.
My second like, I would agree with you, Francisco, on that because
Awesome.
Yeah, because I would call him Dark Wolf. Yeah, Dark Wolf.
Dark Wolf.
Yeah, Dark Wolf. I won't call him Dark Hawk for some reason. Dark Wolf. I enjoy the character himself. Be like
bird head.
Whatever.
Silver Hawk.
Exactly.
Well, actually, that's the thing. If you watch that making of documentary that you sent me,
yes,
it shows like the actors in the original footage, and he is wearing an Indian headdress.
He was.
So it kind of is. I see why you keep wanting to call him Dark Hawk, because that headdress was more bird-like than wolf-like.
I would agree.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can see that. Yes, I agree. Be like, I love Dark Wolf. Great character, great mysterious character. We really don't know him at all. We really don't even know his name in the film itself. But
they never say it in the movie.
They never do, and I'll get to that later. But when it comes to the action and the violence, they don't hold anything back in this film.
No.
When it comes to like the brutality and the savagery in which they are portraying in the film, I
could have seen more. Though they weren't going for an R rating.
They weren't going for an R rating.
Yes,
they definitely pushed that PG-13 film rating, which wasn't there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed definitely that time period of the late 70s into the 80s where they were experimenting with different things and trying to push the limit with violence and gore and that kind of stuff. And I be like, as artists, definitely as artists, and definitely as a viewer of films, when you see something, they actually go in and you murder a character and they're dead. It's not, oh, they disappeared for a while. Oh, they went into the void or something from like Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that.
You mean the nightmare? Was it the Nightmare Realm?
Something like that.
Something like that effect. It's been too long.
Yes. But
Shadow Realm. It was the Shadow Realm.
There we go.
Characters didn't die. They got sent to the Shadow Realm.
The Phantom Zone?
In Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, apparently.
In the American dub, when 4Kids got the rights to it, the original Japanese is very older than the audience 4Kids was going for. So when characters in the Japanese version died, which happened on a regular basis, by playing a children's card game, I might add, they got sent to the Shadow Realm in the American version.
And to quote another movie, the Shadow knows. Anyways.
The realm from which he came.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? My old radio broadcast knows. like my collection of shadow things. Anyway,
Oh, okay. But the way they definitely during that era, they would you would see a character die on screen or watch like one of the one of the goons be like he's like struggling in
I
order
mean the
to
cavemen.
yeah the cavemen that would go.
That's what they were. They were cavemen.
They were cavemen that were like
I swear one of those was frozen in the ice in a Scooby-Doo episode.
They're I think technically listed as subhumans.
Subhumans is how they're listed.
Yes,
I'm
like
calling them cavemen.
yeah, like one of the subhumans trying to continue his what he's supposed to do, but he's dying in the process, and I love that
Mhm.
because they put in so much detail of how a character. I know this sounds like oh my gosh, you like gore, Jacob. I don't like gore, but I love it how they will depict something with such.
You like the realism.
I like the
basically.
realism. There we go. Thank you. I love the realism.
Why'd you love gore, Jacob? Jeez.
I know.
Well, we know that Jacob loves his true crime podcast.
I agree.
So
Hey.
I mean,
Been outed.
taking column A, looking at column B, they're kind of similar.
So you're saying the dogs coming out of the bag?
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe. It's like, yes, I love. I love violence and gore.
No, but I mean,
See, all
I
this
think
time you thought he was a corgi. The reality is he's a Rottweiler.
Have you actually heard me bark?
Yes, I have.
It sounds like a Rottweiler.
I'm just saying, all you people at home who've never gotten to hear Jacob bark, it is not a cute thing.
Yeah, it's like,
No, it's not.
it's not. It's not that. But anyways, we're not here to talk about my Tourette's. But
I will say, Jacob, that if this movie had like a lot less violence and gore, it would felt like almost out of place.
Agreed.
Like
I would.
It would felt too much like a Saturday
Yeah.
morning cartoon as
Mhm.
opposed to I think what
Agreed.
the tone they were going for.
Something
Mhm.
like Thunder the Barbarian.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But yeah, I just love when they do realism in these kind of films. Definitely from the 70s, 80s. They didn't hold back. It was like, hey, we're going to show this and we're going to push the limits of animation. We're going to push the limits of film.
Mhm.
And I love that experimental age. So yeah, second is
Awesome.
the realism.
All right.
What's your second like?
My second and final
Uh-huh.
was the music in this.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't exactly memorable, I would say,
Yeah.
admittedly. But I mean, at the same time, it was never a point where it didn't feel like it didn't fit what they were doing. It had this kind. It wasn't. I think it was orchestral. I don't quite remember because I know it wasn't synthesizer.
It was
But I mean, it felt like it was raw and always hitting the moments anytime they needed to be there. And it was enjoyable. I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy the soundtrack to listen to separately from the film at any time. But
Sorry, William Kraft. Drew doesn't like it enough to buy your soundtrack.
there's a lot of movies I don't like the soundtrack enough to go buy it. Most of the time, it only really works with the film. But anyway, so yeah, I enjoy, my second like for this was the music. So now we need to get into our dislikes.
yes.
Francisco, what's your first dislike for this film?
Okay, so
And if it's what it is,
Also-
I'll have to piggyback off of it.
well, no, we talked about I'm gonna go from my favorite thing, Dark Wolf. There's a side of Dark Wolf that I didn't like, and that's like it's never really fleshed out how he's able to overcome Necron's power at the end. Like Necron can make everyone with his somehow ice Professor Xavier powers make people kill their other like the Fire King's son killed his guard, all that. And he can make Lauren not hurt him. And he could just do all these things. He can make big ice glaciers explode, whatever. And yet somehow Dark Wolf is able to push through that. Would he like Super Saiyan himself up enough to just push through and kill Necron? I don't understand why or how that happened.
Obviously, it was his wolf helmet blocking the magic.
That doesn't. Then they establish that somewhere else.
No, they didn't
Because-
actually
No,
establish
they
it.
didn't.
That is me rationalizing.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
the
That is Drew's fabulous fan fiction. It's fabulous. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. The
Well
only
played.
thing I can rationalize it why is because of Dark Wolf's his ambition and his rage towards Necron, that he pushes through, he endures what he's going through in order to succeed in what he's trying to do through his sure will, his sure anger, his sure rage towards Necron. It's pushing him forward.
Did they set up why he hates Necron so much? I don't really.
No, it's never explained. Except
okay, then we're in the same impasse.
No. Let's back up a second.
I think not. There's no explanation given for this character throughout the entire film, other than he just shows up.
No, I hold on. I think it was Necron had killed his village, I believe. It's like everybody else's motivation.
Killed everybody's village.
Exactly. So it's his motivation.
That didn't tell me why he went and got a wolf hat and put it on his head and got anti-magic powers.
Yes, there's a lot of information about
become magically resistant.
By that token, Lauren should have been able to overcome because I agree. His village too. I agree, but it wasn't. It wasn't him. It was Darkwolf. But
but anyway,
but I completely agree with you. It's a little bit of a, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot in this movie that's not really explained.
Yes, I mean, I think
Wolf had Ex Machina, but anyway,
I think what you said, Drew, makes a lot of sense. Maybe there is something about how he's maybe one with the wolf spirit or something.
That's just a theory. That is really just a theory on that, because the movie, like we said, doesn't tell you anything.
No, it doesn't.
And it's the only thing that separates this character really from everybody else.
Yeah.
On the hero side. So
easy for them to just seed something about him, even like in that opening, not really a montage, but where they have all the stills of Frank.
You mean the black text on the white background?
Mm-hmm.
No. All the Frank Frazetta art that they do to establish the world. They could have done something about. And also there was Darkwolf, an orphan from Necron's rage, iceful rage, and he grew up with a secret helm that would one day allow him to overcome Necron's fury. I don't know, just as easy as that.
Right, I agree with you, because it really should have given that character more explanation, because he really does feel like he comes out of nowhere, and he's the excuse for why anything good happens when the guy's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he's the Gandalf of this group.
Yes, and then he. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
He's never there. He's only there when they get into real trouble.
Yeah, but then
and Lauren can't get out of it.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't pass on his sort of like wisdom and sageness to Lauren so that Lauren can overcome. He's like, well, Lauren can't cut it. I guess I'm gonna have to take care of this myself.
That's because we only had an hour and a half in this film, and we had a large cast of characters we had to touch on, despite the fact most of them are forgettable.
Well, I didn't need Tigra saying, "Oh, why do men get all the glory?" Well, then, okay, let's see you fight, and you didn't really fight all that well, Tigra. I'm sorry. There now I have to be in battle. Yeah, that's right. I said it. You know you were thinking it.
Anywho, my first dislike for this film. We talked about the rotoscoping on this, and how for most of this film it is actually very good, very artistically well done. The problem is there's a couple of moments where it's like you could have drawn that so much better if you weren't trying to match somebody's bad acting.
Yeah.
And the one that jumps out to me is Necron when he's doing his magic, especially there at the very beginning, where I got to thinking, let's see, he's sitting on a throne. He looks like he's in pain. Necron, you're constipated.
He's having a seizure.
No, not quite. That's what was happening to the other soldiers when he was forcing them to kill themselves.
That's true. Okay, never mind.
There's just so many of those instances where I'm looking at it going, y'all could have done this a lot better if you'd have just not have stuck so hard to the to the rotoscoping on the faces. And maybe just done some more natural stuff or at least to get some decent regular acting, because he's just doing all this weird stuff to kind of do magic. And of course, this is what I think of as Lord of the Rings style magic, where it happens, but you don't actually see like beams or anything. It's meant to be it's an invisible force, which I like. Don't get me wrong, and it works in the setting. The problem is it should have been more like forceful, I guess, for lack of a better term. It should have been more of he throws his arm out, and that causes the ice to go. Not,
Yeah.
I gotta poop. It's what it looked like. I'm sorry.
I agree. It looks like
And
he's constipated.
And here's the thing. When I was looking through the crew list for the research on this, I happened to see a name in the producers list that explained quite a lot, despite the fact this name is uncredited in the actual film. Roger Corman explains so much. Granted, you look at the actors and that did the actual motion acting. They're all nobodies for the most part. No offense to y'all guys, because y'all, for the most part, y'all did a good job. But for the most part, these are not, B or C list actors. Even that, they are. A lot of them are stuntmen, which is fine. They act bodies, which is good. But at the same time, it's like, I would have been more impressed if you'd have gotten some of the voice actors to actually do some of this instead of having them come in afterwards. Because a lot of times the voices didn't match the actors.
Yeah, why didn't you just mocap this? I don't know what.
I don't want mocap specifically. I mean, that's kind of modern rotoscoping, but
agreed.
It's just I kind of wish it was better. There was more cohesion and better thought process, and not sticking so hard to the rotoscoping that you're even rotoscoping bad acting.
Yeah, because I mean, at some level, you're not making a live action film, so take some liberties with the animation you're doing. And maybe they did, and it just didn't translate enough. Maybe they should have pushed it harder. But I agree with you, Drew.
Awesome.
All right, Francisco, what's your second dislike?
Back to me. Well, I made that crack about Tigra's face, but we won't go there again. I did not. Okay, this movie sets up the story of the world of Fire and Ice with this really beautiful, highly detailed Frank Frazetta sketch drawings. You see like the what's her name, the Necron's mom,
Juliana.
Juliana, and how she's a sorceress and raises up Necron to be able to control these subhumans. It's just this beautiful art. There's just these panels, these stills that you see as there's sort of this narration going. And then it like smash cuts to Necron constipated on the throne.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
And it's like, it's such a contrast between, I would have adored this whole movie if it was just black and white in Frank Frazetta's like style through and through. Like all his characters looked that level of shading and polish, like animated. That would have been great. I would have thought that was just such a feast for the eyes, even with this story that's kind of like, but to just go from like very detailed to boom, let's have as flat as possible in our animation style. I was like, what? It's just very off-putting.
Yeah, this film definitely could have used a texture overlaid on top of the whole thing to give it more depth.
Agreed.
Depth. Yeah, exactly. And especially when a lot of the backgrounds, like I have this one, those watching the video of toward the end where like all the lava's coming out of Fire Kingdom. I forget what it's called.
Okay.
Sparky? Sure.
I think it's Firekeep.
Oh, Firekeep. That's right. No, Sparky.
Sparky. Yeah. It's now called Sparky. This is official Spellcast lore now.
And so this is beautiful. And the backgrounds, a lot of them were very beautiful, if not watercolored. And sometimes I felt like the hard lines around the characters that were rotoscoped made it feel like they were even more out of place from the backgrounds. But I digress. I just thought that was... I almost wish they didn't have Frank Frazetta's art in the beginning, and it was just white text on black background, so we don't have such a stark difference between look at this beautiful art and now here's this.
We tried.
But we emulated the spirit of it. Not really.
Let's whet your appetite. And now we'll take it away. Here's this amazing illustration. And now what we were able to animate.
A guy sitting on his throne, constipated.
Exactly. So
why couldn't they have smash cut to something else and then showed him constipated?
Right. Give me an exterior of the castle.
Yeah, exactly. Get set up here.
You don't need to go right to him.
Because admittedly, as soon as they went to him, just based on what the narration was saying before, I didn't know if Necron was actually evil, or if he was just if his mother was torturing him. So we just jump cut to this.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, his mom is really evil. Look how much she's torturing him to make him learn all this dark magic. And it's like, no, this is him doing it. This is just how he casts magic. And I go, how? That's sad. You need a better way to do your magic, buddy.
Exactly.
You need a better focus.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's the thing I didn't like about Fire and Ice.
Jacob,
All right. So my first like,
you mean your second dislike?
I didn't get my first like.
I thought you gave your second dislike, your first dislike.
No, I didn't.
Well, then do it.
Okay,
Do
then.
both of them.
Okay, then. Alrighty, boss. Let's go.
I thought you did.
Or let's go back to your likes again. I mean,
Yeah,
why not?
exactly. Let's start all over then.
Okay.
No, nothing but.
The cell cast is
How wooed.
Hi, I'm Francisco. Nice to see you guys here.
Hello and welcome to another episode of
Oy vey.
Jacob. Give us both of your dislikes, please, if you would.
All right. So my first dislike would be the cringy and awkward romance between Tigra and Lauren. Oy. Like it's just it's so cringy, and oh my gosh, I've never seen two characters set up for the romantic interest of the film, and it's like these characters have nothing in common except be like, oh, here's this. Be like, oh, I'm going to steal this, but I'm not going to steal it. I have no intention of stealing these, but we were going to steal it anyway. You took a bite out of it. And just like, it's so awkward. And the transition with these two characters will be like, oh, they're falling in love.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. There's no indication these be like, oh, but I care deeply for her. It's just like, seriously, it was the way they did. Again, there's a lot of like, what the heck are you doing in this film? The way they portrayed these two characters falling in love was highly unrealistic how these characters would actually be like. Yeah, they stumble across each other. She's hungry. She tries to steal his food. She tries to explain that I wasn't trying to steal your food. And
what were you doing taking the food?
Exactly. And it's just so awkward and cringy, and it's just like I don't know how to describe it except it's just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that's of your romantic relationship between our two main characters.
So I have a question, Jacob.
Sure.
Have you done a lot of study of prehistoric mating rituals?
Well, frankly, no.
So how do you know this is exactly how it would have happened?
Because there's a lot of this film that seems more medieval than prehistoric.
I agree. It's like, well, Francisco, I'm not exactly an archaeologist, but
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh, I know, I know.
know. It felt very contrived
It
that
did.
they would
Uh-huh.
fall in love. I think it would have made more sense if he like discovered her, like she was like fending, like she is hiding in. This would have been better step. She is hiding in that wooden the trunk of the tree,
Mhm.
and then maybe one of those gross like roly polies started attacking her, and then he came along and like was able to kill it, and then it's like, oh wow, it's like this, you saved
that
me.
makes a much more
Then
better setup for the two characters. that we meet.
Exactly. And then she helps him through something. I think that would have been an awesome partnership in that regard, and really like forged a relationship as opposed to, you have food, I want food, I steal your food, you can't steal my food, I love you.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
All right. So going.
Well,
go ahead.
Just to keep everything separated,
Go for it.
so you don't have to why don't I go ahead and do mine,
go for it.
and then we'll come back to you.
That'll work.
Okay. My second dislike is the existence of that witch Role, or however you say her name, because so much of that character makes absolutely no.
Relail?
I don't know how you say her name. All I know is she's an annoyance halfway through the movie, and she dies like very quickly, and then she shows back up later in the film, and she's already a skeleton. I was like, how long did it take you to get to this witch's house after we saw her die? This is supposed to be taking place in less than a week, and she's already a decomposed skeleton.
because the hut was burned down. I actually went back. I'm like, because that confused me too. I'm like, oh, it just
That makes sense.
the subhumans let the sparks, or I don't know how they did it, but they knocked over like the thing that had all the fire pit or whatever.
Well,
knocked it over, and
as gory as
burned
this
the hut
movie
down.
has been, they didn't make this part gory enough because that's
All right.
not that obvious.
I need to see the witch burn.
Well, I mean, just leave the
Burn it with fire.
You just got to leave the camera on that hut for a little while so we can definitely see it's on fire.
I'm Drew. There's no camera. It's an animation.
There was an animation camera. Do you not know how cell animation works?
It's in the theater of the mind.
Bull. or should I say wolf? But yeah, the character comes in out of nowhere, leaves just as fast. She does at least some good. She gets Tigra recaptured by the villains after we've had the 5 seconds of romance that that cements their relationship, and then she's somehow alive just enough to tell him, "Oh, Necron's got her." It's like I could have figured that out.
Necron's after, why are you torturing me?
And then there's her son, who is a subhuman and needs a haircut seriously. The man looks like he's wearing a wig that was not animated originally on that body.
Yeah,
totally.
I concur.
It looks that layering looks worse than some of the other layering in this film.
Agreed.
But anyway, that's my second dislike, is that entire sequence.
My second dislike of this film is, oh my gosh, the jump cuts. The jump cuts. I know we put it around it here and there, but the jump cut beginning where we go to Necron.
Yeah.
Necron. Thank you. And him being constipated on the throne, to like every other scene is a jump cut to something.
Yeah.
There's no solid transition nowhere in this film. I feel like there's occasionally one, but throughout it, it's more you have the scene where Lauren is trying to find Tigra. Yeah,
Not Tigra.
I want to say Tiger.
That's a Thundercat.
far better character.
Both of them, yes.
Yes,
Both tigers.
that is true.
Because we don't talk about the third one.
Okay.
Moving on.
Oh, never mind.
How did you not catch that joke? I was not that
sorry. Sorry.
I still don't get it, but we can move on.
Thundercats. We talk the original Thundercats is good. The anime one is good. We don't talk about Thundercats good.
Roar.
Oh, that's what you mean. I thought you meant like there are 3 different characters named Tigra. Okay.
No, Tigra. Anyway,
Whatever it is.
we don't talk about Thundercats. That doesn't work. Moving on.
But the transition.
Thundercats isn't Disney.
No,
Encanto is. We don't talk about Bruno.
That's a fun joke to use anywhere.
No, stop. Not allowed.
Moving on.
yes, moving right along.
Dig-a-doom.
But the
Another Disney movie.
But the transition in this movie are so bad. It's like, can you just put some little like great like moment where it's like, okay, we're going to this scene, but nope, boop boop. It's like, where in the world are we?
Yeah, there's never a fade to black or or fade between scenes or nothing.
Yeah. Did you guys have you guys seen what's it called? Mad Max Fury Road?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I saw it in theaters.
Well, so there was a little like featurette or something about George. I think George Miller is the director of that.
Because he's the director of the original one.
Yeah, his camera work and how he keeps your eye in the same spot even as it moves from thing to thing. Like it'll be focused on the steering wheel, then in that same spot as it cuts to something else, your focal point is still in that same spot, so your eye doesn't have to do a lot of work of figuring out, okay, where am I now? It's very easy. You're just sort of locked in. And then when it does move to somewhere else, it's an important reason for that. And so I think if it is going to smash cut like you were saying, or do a lot of jump cuts like you were saying, Jacob, it would have been much more. It would have been more beneficial if I think they were intentional.
Yeah.
How it seems.
None of the cuts were
together,
intentional.
it was just
on
like,
this.
No, they weren't.
we need to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
We need to tell the story, this part of the story now, instead of like, oh, let's figure out, okay, how artistically are we gonna show this happens?
Yes.
And go to
Well, it does feel like maybe because they were getting close to the end of post-production on this, when they got to the editing, they must have been running out of time and money, so they were got in a hurry.
That's possible.
Yeah.
That's very much possible.
I don't know if that's what happened. It's just that's what feels like it happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the end of your dislikes?
Into my dislikes.
So then we need to get into rating this thing. Now, of course, Francisco, as I'm sure you remember, we use a 20-point scale from 0 to 10 with 0.5s in the middle.
Got it.
Do what?
I said tragic. Got it.
Yeah, we'll go with it. Well, tragic, that would be a 2.5.
I have a number. Don't worry.
Okay. So, Francisco, what is your rating for this film?
So I give it a solid, strong 3.5.
Whoa! That's our lowest score outside of Bad Movie Month.
Bird.
All right. So here's the problem with this. This movie is such a tease. It's like the quintessential tease. It whets my appetite for a sword and sorcery movie. And it doesn't help that there are like very few good ones out there.
Agreed.
So not only does it whet my appetite for them, but it doesn't deliver on what it set out to be in of its own right. And then it whets my appetite for things that aren't even there for me to consume. So it scores bad points on all fronts. I was trying to think of a better way to phrase that, but nothing has come to mind because I'm so confuzzled by the badness of this movie.
I am going to rate it a 5.
Uh-huh.
Too high.
And the reason I give it that much, if you remember from Bad Movie Month, my rule is if you can't be good, at least be interesting.
Yes.
And there's a lot of interesting in this film.
Agree.
And there's a lot of stuff that I really want.
Very interesting how Dark Wolf manages to just cut through Necron's magic. That is really interesting, but it's never solved.
But if you let me finish.
No, I'm not going to let you finish.
I'm
this down to at least
saying
a 4.
there's also a lot of stuff in here that I really would love to see the Riff Tracks guys talk about. This needs to have a Riff Tracks riff.
Absolutely.
That would be a lot of fun to watch and make it a lot more enjoyable of a film. So yeah, I that's why I'm giving it a 5. It is interesting, but it's not 100% perfect. Jacob.
All right, so I'm going to give this movie a 5.5.
Also too high.
Also
Too high. Guys, come on.
What? I can't help.
Come back down to reality, guys. It's not that high of a movie. I'll be quiet. Go ahead. Tell me why it's a 5. Or just rate a 10 while you're at it.
No, this is nowhere near a 10.
No.
I also would like to point out for people who have never caught this is that we have a very wide swath of stuff from 7.0 to 9.5. So 5.0 is probably rates closer to his 3.0. It's 3.5 in reality.
It'd be like it's the latter part of the middle, like the latter part of the middle when it comes to scoring for me anyway. There's a lot of interest in the film. The animation style which they use is interesting. Like artistically is very good. Sure. The execution in a lot of it isn't very well done. The nothing is really explained like whatsoever for the story. But like obviously the intro is introduction.
Yeah.
But there's like our character, like our favorite character of the movie, Dark Wolf, is never explained who he is, what he's doing here, and how did he get the name Dark Wolf?
That's because if they had explained that, he would have become the protagonist of the film, and that was not their intention. Because they recognized he was the most interesting character on screen.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm just gonna give it a 5.5. It's in the middle. It's in the middle somewhere. Be like, would I rewatch it again? Maybe just to just tickle that funny bone.
Would you watch it again? Not for free.
I would.
If you had to rent it, would you do that to watch it again?
To rent it? Probably
I would if the Rift Tracks guys were talking about it.
I'm not. Yeah, I just. Well, are we rating a Rift Tracks version? No, we're
No.
rating the.
I'm just saying that's the only way I'd watch this film again.
Here's the thing: if you're not willing to pay money to rent this, it is not worth. It is not a 5 or higher. It is below 5. Come join me in reality Cellcast crew. Come on.
Before we do that, I need to put this in perspective. Have you listened to have you listened to our
the perspective?
Francisco,
but okay,
Francisco, have you listened to our episode on Leo the Lion?
I have not. Is that the Disney short?
No.
Oh.
No, it is the worst film we've ever reviewed.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
What am I thinking of? What's the Disney Lion? The
Lion
Cowardly
King?
Lion? Is that what it is?
I don't know the Lion short.
It's a Merry Melody. I thought Disney put together. Anyway,
Merry
continue.
Melodies is Warner Brothers, my friend.
Whatever it is, I don't care. It's one of those cool things that Disney does.
Disney's was Silly Symphonies.
Yeah, that's what I said. You
No,
know
it's not. And I still don't know what lion you're talking about.
It's the one with that's cowardly or something.
The
Has a
Wizard
lamb
of Oz?
Name's a lamb.
We've
It's
not
something.
reviewed The Wizard of Oz.
Oh my god. In summary, 3.5. That's where this is.
Anyway, this is going off the rails and off the rails fast. Next,
Yeah, because you guys are in Fantasyland with 5.
We're delusional.
Francisco, do you want me to give you some homework?
Oh god!
I will give you 3 films that will make you understand why we're rating this just a little bit higher than you.
You know what? I will take. I'll watch one of them. Hit me with your best shot here.
Leo the Lion.
Okay, Leo. Where am
It's
I?
on
gonna find that?
Amazon.
Leo
The Lion.
It is garbage. It is absolute
How-
garbage.
Putrid
How-
garbage.
Am I going to be in for a 3-hour epic here?
No, it's an
No.
hour and a half.
Okay, so comparable to the Fire Nights.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an hour and a half. And I believe my official final rating for this thing was that I could not call it absolute burning garbage.
Yes.
Because that would be an insult
Insult
to
to
absolute burning garbage.
That's impressive. All right.
So,
And what did you rate that then?
0.
A 0. Okay. All right.
Zero.
all
We
right.
both rated that a 0 after we said we will never rate a movie a 0.
we did.
Wow.
2
is
episodes
impressive.
later.
See, and I'm not even saying this is a 0.5. I'm giving you 3 points above that.
Right.
So
but I'm just saying this gives context as to why we're being so nice to this film. Either way, next week
Yes.
we are going to be reviewing Megamind.
A better film, hopefully.
It is a much better film. So join us next week for that. But in the meantime, we are going to hit the bumpers. So when we come back, we're going to be talking about what we've been watching, what we got in the news, and we may have an interrogation to do, maybe. And then we'll be talking about X-Men. So join us on the other side for that.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest Playing Games with Strangers. Playing Games with Strangers is a family-friendly, actual play tabletop podcast where indie voice actors get together and play tabletop role-playing games. You can listen to the adventures unfold as they roll dice, slay monsters, and have fun, all at playinggameswithstrangers.com.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Melanie Dubois.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
You've been working on it for weeks,
I have.
but we'll get it when we get it.
We'll get there when we get there.
So listening to our bumpers, you probably noticed we have a new member of the Culture Box.
Woot woot.
Playing Games with Strangers. I have actually been listening to this podcast since it launched, 2 years ago? Really?
That sounds
3
about
years
right.
ago? I am caught
might
up.
be 3,
I
yeah.
think actually I have not listened to the most recent release. I'll say that. But it's actually a very fun show, and I actually do suggest it. maybe not for kids. I will say that because there's a lot of not because there's a lot of dark stuff happening. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, I do suggest it.
Of course, you got to keep in mind that also Drew suggests Fire and Ice. So
I didn't suggest Fire and Ice.
You rated it a 5.
That's still a failing grade.
Watch Leo the Lion. You'll understand.
We don't pass until 7.
All right.
Anyway, are y'all ready to jump? Let me back up.
Yes, and go check out Playing Games with Strangers.
Yes, definitely go check them out. So, guys, I have a question for y'all.
What have you been watching?
Francisco, let's start with you.
Let's see. I've been trying to watch some older movies, and I unfortunately have not been able to finish any of them, which is kind of frustrating. But I tried watching a movie called Red River with Bruce Boxleitner in it. He's like a cowboy, and like they're trying to get like. Think of like City Slickers, how they're trying to just move a cattle drive from, I think it's from Texas to St. Louis, something like that.
That would make sense if they have to cross the Red River.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm only sort of got started in that. Then another movie I only sort of got started in was called A Black Moon Rising, I believe. It has Tommy Lee Jones in it, and it's almost like a corporate espionage movie, which seems really interesting, but it's like set in the 80s. So it's funny, like the tech is very like very archaic compared to what we have now. It's no Mission Impossible, but that seemed, I mean, Tommy Lee Jones brings himself to this, and from what I've seen so far. So I'm excited to go back to that. Let's see, what else have I been watching? Saw some episodes of X-Men, the animated series. Watched that recently.
Yeah.
And
we'll get to that here in a minute.
And we're close to I assume Boo's going to get unlocked in the Boo Saga and Dragon Ball Z, just because if it's the Boo Saga, it'd be kind of anticlimactic if he never comes out of his egg. We're approaching that in DBZ.
You're in for a trip.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that.
You guys?
Jacob?
All right. So I watched a movie I recently picked up from Disney Movie Club. It was a 2-pack, and it was the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame came out in 1988. Never seen it before.
Divisive film.
Yeah, agreed. It's divisive. I actually enjoyed this film. I really enjoyed it. The storytelling, the conflict between of Quasimodo and to obey his master, his adopted father, or go out and see the real world. And you can see a lot of possible inspirations for future films with this. And I think it was a film I had no interest in. I think I started to grow out of cartoons, but I really hadn't at that point.
Right.
But after watching it was a wonderful treat watching this film. I was very surprised by it. And Esmeralda, oh my gosh. Wow.
Hunchback was 95, right?
98, I believe. I could be wrong.
In my mind, it was the same year as Toy Story, but admittedly, I can be wrong about that.
Right. I will do a quick look for that.
Because I remember part of the reason I didn't watch it was
96.
96.
Okay.
Okay, 96.
I remember there was a Christian boycott or Baptist boycott that was going around at the time, which is why I didn't really. Part of the reason I didn't watch it, but then I was also 11.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 1923, actually.
I would.
You mean the animated one?
I would not have been. Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Yeah, come on, Paul. Come on.
Anyway,
yeah.
So I have watched that relatively recently, like within the last 10 years.
I really enjoyed it. I love the conflict that Quasimodo goes through the entire film, and there's a beautiful scene where Esmeralda is taking shelter in the church. She's taking sanctuary. And there's a beautiful scene where all these people are praying, and they're praying for themselves. They're praying for wealth and prosperity and their wealth and their health and all of this. And Esmeralda is singing this very beautiful song of praying for her people, praying for those she cares about, and praying for those that that are the downtrodden a little bit.
Mhm.
Is what as Christians, that's what we're supposed to strive towards, is not to pray for ourselves, not to pray for our own wealth and our prestige, like even Christ even commands us not to do that, but rather to be humble and pray for others and pray for those that are lost and pray for those who are less fortunate than us. And so I found that really moving in the middle of this film. I was like, wow, this is really good. And great movie. Great movie. And then just out of a whim, I had bought this DVD Blu-ray bundle of movies a couple of years back. And I bought with the bundle Sequest DS9.
DSV?
I was gonna say DSV.
Yeah, DSV. I'm sorry, DSV.
Because DS9 is a different thing.
Sorry, yeah, why did I say DS9?
Because
it's Star Trek.
Because you've watched DS9 or DS9 thing recently, like within the last year.
Yeah,
and those are you just mixed a lot of. So
agreed.
Fair.
I love it when Cisco is like just really driving that submarine around. It's really
yeah. Through the whirlwind instead of the wormhole.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that I remember watching this, like I remember watching the premiere when it happened in 1993, and I thoroughly enjoyed this series when I was a kid. I was like, oh my gosh, it's underseas, it's sci-fi stuff, and it's a dolphin. But this is actually a really, really fun show. I watched the pilot movie, and it's really well done. The sets are really, you get Roy Schneider in the main role, and oh my gosh, this man can act. I mean, like he was a terrific actor, and be like, yeah, most of them, like, you think Roy Schneider, Jaws. But he's so much more of like an adept actor than like I did never expect.
In Jaws 2.
Yeah, Jaws 2 wasn't in the rest of them. I wonder why.
Because they became very cheap.
Yeah, agreed. Jaws 3D.
Oh yeah, and the 3D was so good in that one.
Yeah, Jaws the Revenge.
Especially that shot of the shark just slowly moving towards the camera like a lifeless husk.
Yes.
As it's supposed to be coming towards you to bite the camera.
Yes. So cheesy. So cheesy. So yeah, I watched the first episode and I got into the second one before I came over here. And that wasn't the reason I was late. We won't go into that on air. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I plan on continuing that. And so, yeah, I kind of went back to my childhood and watched something from the early 90s. What about you?
I haven't had a chance to watch a whole lot this week because I got distracted by a video game.
What video game would that be?
Final Fantasy 14. By Constance's addiction at this point. But I did watch a movie before we got ready for tonight, because I was trying to finish editing on last week's episode.
Ooh, can I guess?
Since it is Cinco de Mayo today, as we're recording, I felt I should watch a movie that takes place in Mexico. And it's a classic film that takes place.
Man on Fire.
No, it's a comedy that takes place in Mexico.
Oh,
Three Amigos.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
I thought so.
I was gonna. In fact, let me do it the right way. The Three Amigos.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
I needed something that I could kind of just watch and not pay a whole lot of attention to while I was finishing up the editing. Something I could pause for like 15 minutes as I'm trying to get through certain parts of the thing, and then could hit play without really worrying about, okay, where was I in this story? While I'm waiting for the computer to render something. So I watched that this afternoon, and I realized something about halfway through this film.
Really?
Galaxy Quest pretty much borrowed this plot.
Yeah, and this plot, I think it was borrowed from other films as well. This is not but this is very either commonly used from Three Amigos, or Three Amigos borrowed it from somewhere else, which I don't know where.
I don't know, but that doesn't change how I feel about any of the films. So I just thought, oh, that's interesting. I had never caught that this is basically Galaxy Quest, or vice versa in reality. So yeah, that is pretty much what I have been watching. So Jacob, what do we have in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Dealet. And getting into news, we're going to talk about a movie that I know Drew loved to death. I think we did it in our first year or second year. I can't remember which, but I remember he loved this film to death.
I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic or not.
I don't know. All right. So the latest entry in a certain movie franchise began with Richard Rich's 1994 hit. Can you name the movie, Drew?
Richard Rich?
Richard Rich.
Trying to think of what we watched in the first 2 years.
We reviewed it.
And I understand this.
Fire and Ice.
No.
We're reviewing it right now.
This was within our first 2 years. Honestly, I am not making the connection.
The Swan Princess.
You were being sarcastic.
See?
There's a movie that could die in a fire.
Booyah!
Frozen's a better movie than this.
Not possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
This Fire and Ice is better than Frozen. So,
Whoa.
Yeah.
That just shows you how much he doesn't like Frozen.
Apparently. Oh my gosh. All right. So getting back to the news, the 1994 hit The Swan Princess will take fans back in time to see the enchanted story from the beginning in Swan Princess, A Fairy Tale is Born, a new CG animated film running 83 minutes.
Remind me about something here. Isn't this like the 20th film in this franchise?
It's something like maybe like the 12th.
It's as bad as The Land Before Time.
Agreed.
Except The Land Before Time, the first movie, was actually a good movie. The first movie of not Princess and the Frog, that's a different movie.
It's a better movie.
Of the Swan Princess was garbage. And I don't think that's the fault of the source material.
So I saw this. I was like, ooh, this would be fun to pick at Drew. So going back to some actual really good news. Illumination, Nintendo's colorful Easter egg riddled video game adventure, The Super Mario Bros. Movie continues to blast through box office levels, attending feats the most impressive in a pre-COVID cinema buzz. This weekend, the Universal Picture release passed another milestone, which on Sunday it passed $1 billion, helped by a $68.3 million boost from over 80 overseas markets, reaching right now with a total of an international total of $532.5 million.
If I'm remembering correctly, though, that puts it right under, what was it, Frozen's global total?
Yeah. I think it actually beat Frozen total already.
Has it? Because I know we are getting close because this movie is coming out on digital like within the next week or so.
Yeah.
That's going to start undercutting what it's been doing at theaters, which is unfortunate. But
yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's like, Super Mario movie, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is making bank in the theaters, and I cannot be more excited. It is awesome. It
was a very fun movie. I need to go watch it a second time.
I saw it twice on a date, which was awesomer.
Yeah, because she was not happy that we saw it without her.
She
saw it a little twice on the same date.
No.
No.
We saw it on like opening weekend.
Yes.
somebody forgot to tell his girlfriend we were going to the movie, and she apparently wanted to see it, so they saw it last weekend.
Yeah, we did. My mistake. Sorry, Ashley.
I was not invited on the second
I
trip
see.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Aw, sad.
I don't want to be the third wheel on their date, which is what made Suzume weird. But anyway, because that was combination podcast work and your date night.
Kind of, yeah.
Because y'all didn't. I don't think. Yeah, because the Saturday is when we went to see. Went to that art museum.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah. So that's all I have for in the news, unless someone else has more stuff about animated movies.
I don't have anything. So,
Okay.
do we have something for interrogation?
Yes, we're doing interrogation, as most of our audience listeners know, that whenever we have a guest, and Francisco is our captive for this evening, so we ask our lovely captain here a few questions about his animated history. So
The good news is this can't be claimed as mutiny, as we're not on the pod.
Fine.
all right, Francisco, our beloved Captain Roy.
Yes.
So what was the first movie that you saw in theaters animation wise, and it, like, was it Fire and Ice?
No, that honestly, the first movie I remember seeing in theaters that was an anime movie was The Little Mermaid. Though I'm pretty sure I saw one. I've seen one earlier, but that's the first one that I remember.
Oh,
seeing.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So what was one of the animated TV shows you loved as a kid?
I loved a lot of the Disney Afternoon. As much as I hate Disney, it used to be good. And I really loved Darkwing Duck, DuckTales.
Yes.
Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. I really enjoyed Voltron for a time. G1 Transformers. Wait, did you say just one? Or do you
One,
want
but it doesn't matter. You just keep going.
Keep
dude.
going.
Keep going.
You didn't hear us stop you, but
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess if I have to pick a favorite of all animated shows that I've ever seen growing up, it'd probably be Beast Wars, just because of the arc that Dinobot takes.
good choice.
Yes,
in that one.
very nice choice.
But even though I'm very skeptical about what they're going to do with the movie, just because of where the Transformers franchise in movie form has gone.
Agreed.
But it may be fine. But yeah, Beast Wars. I'll go with Beast Wars.
Okay, excellent. So what was ever since like you and now your lovely bride Ashley are married? What was the first animated film you two watched together?
Oh, well, before we were married, we actually watched Dragon Ball, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
There's a date
because-
movie.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
because we were going to cover it for the podcast.
Okay.
And so I wanted to introduce her to it because there's a movie that I really remembered enjoyed. She ended up liking it. So that was pre-nuptials though. Post, I don't know if I remember what it would be. Probably something for the podcast, for the Retro Rewind podcast.
Probably Lilo and Stitch.
But we really got into
I don't know. I'm guessing.
we really got into trading films. I mean, I guess I could bring it up and see if I could find one, but I know she really wanted me to experience Dragon Ball Z because her and her brother watched that a lot growing up, and also Fruits Basket. So those aren't movies; those are shows.
Yes,
that's fine.
But I would count those.
So obviously throughout this interrogation, I hear that you're disdain for Disney films.
Yeah.
What is your what?
You got that? Good.
Okay, good.
Yes, we know your heart has been tainted,
Tainted or
Frozen solid, baby.
corrupted.
no, or
Pardoned?
I've finally seen the truth. I've taken the red pill. And now I'm aware of the Matrix
The
that
red
has you
pill.
guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're just acting more like one of the seven dwarves, and I don't mean happy.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not dumpy. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was referring to grumpy. But anyway,
That's Necron. He's dumpy.
Oh my gosh. So, with your
Disdain for Disney, yes.
Is there a Disney film you actually like? Disney
Yeah.
animated film.
Yes,
What is that?
one of them.
Which one?
We need a name.
No, I know. Let's see. I mean, I really, I haven't seen, I haven't really sat down to watch. It was sort of on in the periphery when during spring break. Ashley wanted to watch Beauty and the Beast, and that probably would be pretty high up there. But for me, Aladdin, I really enjoyed what Robin Williams as Genie.
Of course.
I really like that story. I do like Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's one I didn't have any interest as a kid, but as an adult, I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But I think I'll go with Aladdin.
Okay.
Okay.
So throughout your course of reviewing movies and animation through the Retro Rewind podcast, what is your favorite anime movie you reviewed so far on your podcast?
And bear in mind, some of these might have been erased from history by Jared.
Good point. They might have darn Jared.
You don't know what we're talking about? Go listen to Retro Rewind.
Yeah, in our Ships Logs episodes.
I'm in some of those.
I'm just perusing through the anime movies we've covered real quick.
Jared,
I mean, a lot of the anime ones. Wait, you said which? Oh, which Disney one has been my
just
favorite? Or
which
just
animated
which
film?
anime?
Animated in general.
Animated in general.
Okay. Oh, you know what? The one that really sticks with me a lot is Akira, both because of its sort of feats of animation and also just what it says from a very socio-political message of like this government takes these kids to just be weapons, and you see a lot of those similar themes in the Montauk conspiracy or Stranger Things. And it's interesting because I watched Akira around the same time I saw 1984 for the first time, and there's similarities, and it's like, there's this one guy who makes a T-shirt that says "Make 1984 fiction again," and sometimes in the world we're living in, I feel like that's really ringing true. So
Yeah.
Akira sort of sticks out in my mind. Not that there's going to be a kid with psychic powers that destroys everything and turns into a blob monster or anything like that, but it's just what it says about if you just let the government or some elite faction that's like above the government sort of run things, you got to be aware of that. And also when you just sort of give in to nihilism, this is sort of what the society can become. Sort of on the, I'm going to give the counter to that. So that is, I guess, the black pill. Let me give you the white pill. The Iron Giant. Oh my gosh. If there's a story that like, I was actually talking to Paul, my co-host for the podcast. Hey, Paul, what movies are like Easter movies that aren't like Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe? And he gives me some. I'm like, no, well, that takes place during Easter, like Ben-Hur or what have you. But no, it's not a Christian movie, but it has very much an Easter like resurrection sort of theme. And like Iron Giant came to mind for me. I'm like, oh yeah, that is he sacrifices himself to save others, and he's in a way resurrected at the end. Spoilers for Iron Giant. Sorry, but
We already reviewed it.
Viewed it. Beautiful.
there you go. So
Yeah, so no spoilers here.
Yeah.
So I'll say those are my two like very dark and very bright animated films. That
All right. So knowing that you have children and you're a father, be like,
oh wow, doxing me. Thanks a lot.
It's not like we said where you were, outer space.
Yeah, exactly, outer space. Somewhere in the cosmos, deep in the I don't know, the origami sector. I don't know.
The origami sector. Yeah,
exactly.
That's exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Either or.
Outside of Deep Space Station K-22.
Yeah, something like that. So
Sequest DS9. You know.
What is a show or a movie that your kids love and you have that a movie or TV show that you and your kids love?
Well, for some reason, my daughter really connected with the Karate Kid, and so she really sort of connected with that. We watched it when she was about 7, I want to say, and so that's actually I've been able to look back on that and say, do you remember this part, the Karate Kid? She's like, yeah, and actually like be able to speak some like truths that happened in the movie and like to reflect what's going on in her life. That's happened. It's happened very, very occasionally, but it has happened more than any other movie. So that'd be that one for my daughter. For my son, we don't quite have a movie yet. He likes Goonies, which is interesting. Like whenever we're trying to decide a movie, he'll be like Goonies. I'm like, but my daughter doesn't like Goonies at all. So it's tough to get that one played. But I'll say to answer this question, Karate Kid.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, Karate Kid was a favorite movie when I was a kid. I loved Karate Kid.
And I haven't shared that with my son yet. He may connect with it as well, but he hasn't seen it yet.
Cool. So, anime-wise, do you like anime?
Yes.
Okay.
He did mention Akira.
I agree. He did. Thank you. But
did I though?
Maybe.
Did I?
I don't know. Am I recalling? is my recall memory just fading away into nothingness?
Maybe.
Probably.
I blame it on Jared.
Yeah, it's Jared's fault.
Yeah. But so what animated series do you find yourself drawn to? Be like if it's a show you watched back in the past, more recently, and it's just like you find to be like, well, I have nothing to watch. What anime series do you automatically gravitate towards?
Probably like I've already watched it a couple times through now, but Rising of the Shield Hero, I was actually having an itch just the other day to go back and watch it through it again.
Okay.
Because I love that series so much. The first season is certainly superior to the second season, but a lot of people don't like the second season. I liked it for what it was. I thought it went to some more fantastical places. For those that don't know, do you want me to give a recap or just move on to the next question?
Either or.
It's your guys' show. You tell me what you want.
Yeah, you can do.
It's an isekai. Let's move on.
3.5. Iron Ice is a 3.5. How many?
He will never let this one down, will he?
No, he's not going to. Next time I'm on the Retro Rewind, 3.5.
A 5. Are you mad? Are you mental? and then he'll watch Leo the Lion. It's like, yep, you're right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
You very well could be right. I wouldn't doubt it. But
oh my gosh,
I got so mad at that movie.
So going back, so if you had, say, your child or your lovely bride, so be like, I really want to watch this Disney movie. You need to watch it with me. Would you do it?
Yeah, like Ashley really wants to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and just because she wants to sort of a closure to the series, wants to see how it ends, and so I'm willing to go see that.
Okay.
But I wouldn't probably seek it out myself, even though I liked the first two quite a bit.
Okay.
But
what if it was a Disney movie?
That is
a Disney movie.
No, it's a Marvel Studios movie.
But by his definition,
by
his definition, Star Wars is Disney.
Okay, fair enough. A Disney animated movie.
Animation Studios.
Animation Studios. If one of your loved ones said, "I really want you to come watch this movie with me,"
it depends. It depends on what it is.
Oh, okay.
Like what the story is and what have you. I'm most likely not going to happen. But if Disney does a 180 and starts telling what I would classify as good stories again, I wouldn't be terribly. I wouldn't be. I'd be open to that. Is what I'm trying to say.
So what is your definition of a good Disney movie?
Like, well, Aladdin. I think sort of a hero's journey type, just a typical hero's journey. There's the unlikely or the unwilling protagonist. There's a call to adventure. They don't want it, but then something happens and they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go on the adventure. They go and find. They go on the quest. They slay the dragon. They get the item. They bring the item, whatever it is, back to the village, and then that changes the village for the better. Something like that. And Aladdin's not quite. Has some elements of that. It's not like a strict recounting of the typical archetypical hero's journey. But I want stories like that. I just really enjoy that type of storytelling. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. There's lots of comedies, like rom-coms don't really stick to that as much. But those are delightful for another reason. But if I don't see Disney doing a rom-com really as an animated movie. So if they were to go back to that, I would appreciate that. And I feel like you got some of that with Mulan, and I like Mulan. So it's not beyond Disney, but apparently they're more interested in my estimation. They're more interested in pushing a political message than they are in telling a story.
Okay, fair enough. Completely fair. All right, so I
Just like my 3.5 rating.
anyways, I think our interrogation is over with.
All right.
Now,
So we need to jump into our review of X-Men the Animated Series as we start one of the better story arcs.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over-bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically neurotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, it's the day. X-Men, X-Men, it's Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
So, Francisco, before we get into the review, I have to ask, did you watch X-Men growing up?
Yes, I did. I really enjoyed it. Though, yes, I'll leave it at that. I was about to launch into, yes,
Right.
I did enjoy it growing up.
Who was your favorite X-Men?
there we go.
Or X-Men villain?
Cyclops. Like a
Cyclops. Okay.
like a straight-laced individual,
Mhm.
Cyclops.
All right.
Nice.
I'm not surprised.
Hey, I was a fan.
I don't know how to
like
take
myself.
that. Other than you must know I have good taste. Yes, yeah, of course. That must be it.
Anyway. I'm just giving you a hard time. We are actually reviewing the first two parts of the Phoenix Saga tonight. And they
Ooh.
actually have episode names, which I didn't realize until the episode started. So the first one is Sacrifice, which first aired on September 5th, 1994. And the second one is The Dark Shroud, which aired September 6th, 1994. I have a very clean suspicion that we're about to get green with evil with this. I suspect all 5 of these episodes came out the same week.
Probably.
Of course, I managed to miss most of these. I might maybe caught the first one and then the third one. I don't know how this ends.
Hey, I missed this whole arc as a kid. I came back in at the Dark Phoenix Saga. I didn't even know there were 2 until we were getting set up for this.
Oh wow! Oh, there's another saga after
Yeah,
this?
same season.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the season. We have the regular
Oh,
Phoenix
really?
Saga here, and then the Dark
Oh.
Phoenix Saga in like a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, in this episode, Professor X's visions lead to his decision to blindly send the team to commandeer a space shuttle on which they are attacked by the Shi'ar agent Eric the Red, who plans to ambush the rebel Lilandra when she exits a space wormhole, also called a black hole. Jean Grey experiences a transformation as the shuttle travels through an energy field. A psychic probe in the form of a beam of light causes Professor X to emit a psychic projection of his dark side, which then attacks the X-Men. Professor X retreats to Muir Island for rehabilitation, but is visited by Lilandra. These episodes were, of course, as all X-Men the Animated Series episodes were, directed by Larry Houston, and these episodes were written by Michael Edens and Mark Edward Edens. Guest cast for these 2 episodes, we got Lawrence Bain as Eric the Red, Rick Bennett as the Juggernaut, Lally Cadeau as Dr. Moira McTaggart, Jeremy Ratchford as Sean Cassidy, aka Banshee, and Camilla Scott as Lalandra. Trivia for this episode: this is the first appearance of Banshee in the show, and the first appearance of Eric the Red, and it has cameos by Yuriko, aka Lady Deathstrike, Sabretooth, and Deadpool for the third time in this series, and he still has yet to say a word yet, which throws me off. I am sorry. I recognize this was like right after the character was created, so the Deadpool I know is not really existing yet because he doesn't get that mouth till 2005.
Well, Ryan Reynolds was like 3 when this came out. So what do you expect from him?
No. It's not Ryan Reynolds that I like. I actually read the comics when it was still good before I got mad. before it got dirty is what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
super dirty.
Gotcha.
Anyway, it's just saying it throws me off. That's all I'm saying. The StarCorps space shuttle that the X-Men commandeer to reach the space station is similar in design to the NASA STS-type shuttle in use at the time, while the spacesuits bear more of a resemblance to the Orlan suits used by the Russian space program. However, I'd like to point out they were all wearing the Star Trek Next Generation comm badge as their symbol on their shoulder patch.
Yes.
Which really made me wonder, was the what's his name? The doctor that they actually let go up there on the ship with.
Oh yeah, I forget.
I kind of wondered if he was wearing a red shirt under that spacesuit.
He didn't die though.
No, but he got knocked out a lot. This is because this is Fox Kids. No one died here. Did you catch how easily they stopped from saying the word die like at the last second
of the Charge of the Light Brigade?
Yeah. It's like this is Fox. People don't die; they get destroyed.
Ours is not to reason why. Ours is but to do and go to the shower room.
Yeah, pretty much. This is the first appearance of Shi'ar Commander Dekin Naramani and his sister Lalandra. Dekin is seen in the monitor talking to Eric the Red, while Lalandra appears only as a figure in a spacesuit, telepathically calling out to Professor Xavier. Both appeared previously during Xavier's vision in the previous episode, Out of the Past, though she does have more of a role in part 2. Some of this was taken from the trivia from both sides. Anyway, in the hospital scenes, Beast is wearing a t-shirt with Howard the Duck on it.
Yes.
And
is that Howard the Duck? I saw his duck. I wasn't sure which duck it was.
It was Howard the Duck. Well, it's the only one they would have had rights to at the time.
Could have been
because Howard the
just a generic duck.
You don't know how many Marvel little cameos and Easter eggs are in this show. This is just another one of those. When Professor Xavier is speaking to the X-Men in the alley before heading to Muir Island, a Fox poster can be seen on the wall, which makes sense since this was aired on Fox Kids.
Yep.
Lalandra Naramani makes her first unmasked appearance to Professor Xavier on the second episode, and when Professor Xavier's dark side is attacking Wolverine in Subway, he first appears as Sabretooth and then Deadpool, as I said earlier. So, Francisco, what is your thoughts on this episode? On these 2 episodes?
My thoughts are that they were interesting. Are we doing spoilers? I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
Remember it. Spoilers.
We're assuming people watched it.
Okay. So I don't understand the point of Lalandra having a bug helmet if she's not a bug alien. What's the point of that?
That's a very good question.
Agreed.
Why? It's just, I feel like it's just to throw you to make you think this is a sinister person. But is that really that helpful if these other people are the ones that are hurting them? I don't know what's going on.
And then how do you fit all that big hair in that little helmet?
It should have been crimped or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on there.
Where's her hairstyle? Let's get her hair right.
And like I said,
Hammer space.
I don't have a lot of context for what's going on because I didn't read the original comic. I don't know how this whole saga goes, but I'm not really sure what the point of like Professor X's psyche going out and causing mayhem is. Like why trying to get in touch with Lalandra did that, or was that the other guys that were doing that to him? It was confusing. I was confused about what was happening and why. Like, I can't tell you, Cyclops, what I'm seeing, except I mean, I narrated it or you could sort of understand because I had to do some dialogue during the intro, and I could have just shared all that with you. But no, I can't do that. But why didn't you tell me what was going on? It's your fault. No, it's your fault. Oh my gosh. Can someone take the responsibility, please?
Unfortunately, that would probably be Storm, and she's already had
3.5.
Unfortunately, that would probably be Storm, and she's had way too much focus in this series so far.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about
one does
Season one, hammered home. She has claustrophobia 3 times, and with the same flashback, except it's animated differently every single time.
Yeah.
And in one of them, she was white.
Oh. Not kidding. Go back and watch it.
I don't mean a light African skin. I mean white.
Pasty white.
Like as white as you are, Francisco.
I'm coffee color. Thank you very much.
Anyway,
cappuccino over here.
White chocolate. Anyway. White chocolate mocha.
Maybe cinnamon chocolate.
Anyway. So yeah.
Keep going.
I am going to agree with you that there's a lot of stuff that seems to be thrown at us that they have not explained. I'm being reminded of last season's trip to the Savage Lands that never explained anything about what was going on there.
Very true.
Because other than let's just have a random scene of Xavier and Magneto walking around.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Yeah, and I was disappointed. I wanted to see Magneto in this. I'm like, it would have been cool if Magneto came out and actually was the one stopping like Dark Charles or something, but that wasn't the case. And why?
Do you want to know a piece of fun trivia?
Sure.
Francisco. After was it halfway for the 5th episode of season 1, Magneto never does anything villainous again in the series.
Nope, never does.
After that, he never does anything villainous.
No, nothing villainous.
Nothing villainous. He's an antagonist, but as in terms of the villainous Magneto terrorist that the X-Men have to go stop, no, never happens.
He just likes helping them half the time.
It's weird.
Yeah,
that is weird.
He was involved like in nearly every episode of season 2 when he and Xavier were walking through the Savage Lands for no apparent reason that they ever actually said.
It's like, oh, we were drawn to the Savage Land. We can't get out.
And why? I don't know. Mr. Sinister wants us here, and they want an excuse to keep Xavier away from the mansion all season so they can actually focus on every other character for a change. Yeah. Yes, PaulJPowers.com. He was the leader of the evil Brotherhood of Mutants, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The thing is, they have barely been in this show, and most of the members we think of, they're working for other people.
True. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Anyway, so also Dark Charles or whatever. Why does he have a cape? What's the point
was
of
my
that?
favorite part. Like, let's see, how do we
Cape and
show
a
this
suit.
is an evil Xavier? We can't do a goatee because that's just too obvious. So we'll give him a cape.
A twirling mustache would be even better.
It's like, and we're gonna have him like hate on everyone.
No capes.
It's so silly.
I blame the fact that this is the same production company that, or the producers of the show are the same people who produce Power Rangers.
Oh,
Saban, yeah. I blame that.
Fair.
Oh man.
And plus, this is 90s comics. A lot of this is just going to be fun.
That is true.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And obviously, this is like the first 2 parts of a 5-part story.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe some of this is going to get wrapped up in the next couple episodes of our show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not, knowing X-Men.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it felt like a filler element. And again, I don't know if this was in the comics, but there didn't seem to really be a reason to have this whole evil Charles dynamic. It seemed like it would have been much more clear for him, like, to just go from not sure what's going on in the hospital with Jean, to like, you know what, Cyclops, you take over. I can't handle this right now. I'm gonna go to Ireland.
Yeah,
Scotland.
Ireland.
Well, it's Muir Island, which is a fictional island off the coast of Ireland.
Yes.
Okay, so go hang out with Luke Skywalker and have him.
I
chuck
wish
his
that was Luke
lightsaber away.
Skywalker.
And
That's Banshee, and he's going to get very annoying very fast.
so that I think I would prefer that.
Jacob,
Yes, I got distracted.
I noticed, but it's your turn to talk.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on episode 3 of
Episode
season
1 and 2?
of 1, 2, and 3,
3 and 4 of
3 and
season
4.
3. Sorry.
You.
There were 2 other episodes before
Yes.
this that technically did it really do any setup for this?
It did, actually.
other than show, there's an alien spaceship on the planet.
Yeah, it sets up.
And now we're going elsewhere. Also, the worst fire graphic I've ever seen in television.
Oh my gosh. So episodes 1 and 2 of this season were like, what in the world are you doing animation wise here? It looks cool. They use a lot more black tones than anything else.
And now we're back to normal.
Yeah, then we're back to normal. We're back to the normal animation. I'm like, okay, well, that's a nice fresh relief. I would agree. Be like, there's a lot of where, Charlie, what are you doing? At least explain to what's going on to the kiddos. Be like, they're out of the loop. Be like, hey, you have to go to space. It's urgent. Why? I don't know. Just do it. I'm your teacher. Go.
I don't
understand why.
I would like to also know is what's Rogue doing right now?
Exactly.
They found a really good reason to keep Xavier, Storm, and Jubilee off of the space station.
Yeah.
But the best they could do for Rogue is she's off on another mission.
Yeah, that was really weird. And Rogue's one of my favorite X-Men in this series. I love her dynamic with Gambit.
Yeah.
And so I'm bummed that she wasn't in it.
Also, when evil Xavier was going off doing his thing, why was everyone so close to each other in New York City when they're all supposed to be just doing their own thing? Why are they all coincidentally, like, I know they're on the same island because it's all Manhattan, but I mean, they seemed like it was too coincidental that after evil Xavier got done torturing Wolverine, he happens to run out in front of a theater where Gambit and Jubilee are waiting in line while Gambit's, of course, hitting on another woman.
Of course.
Again.
It's Gambit.
Yes. That Cajun pride will get you anywhere.
Oh, don't you know I know about the Cajun pride? It's so I mean, the women, I had to bat them off with the stick.
We are not having him on for Princess and the Frog. I'm just saying.
I mean, I know you don't want someone with the authentic Cajun accent. Whatever.
But I enjoyed the episode for what it was. The story was like, I enjoy this episode for what it is. The story is good. There's a lot of Charles is not giving an explanation, even though I think one of us said it before that he's giving the dialogue at the beginning of the episode, but he doesn't want to share that with anybody else, which is frustrating beyond belief to any of the characters.
And then he sends an alarm throughout the school where presumably there's kids sleeping. All X-Men report to the danger room or whatever it is. It's like
there have been no other children seen in this show.
Yeah.
Hey, I've seen
huge mansion.
This is a very exclusive private school.
Yes, very exclusive.
Just bear in mind, season 1, it got destroyed by the Juggernaut, so
true.
But they didn't know it was the Juggernaut. They thought it was Colossus because you got to attack the Russians. The Ruskies. This is not my good Russian accent that I did earlier. But anyway.
It's not as good as my Cajun. That's no fact, though.
I don't do good unless I talk about crushing a sparrow egg between men's thighs.
Oh my gosh. But there again, we get this it's center focus episode with Jean Grey and her determination that she is going to pilot the ship and willingly sacrificing herself in order to save her friends. And the Phoenix swooping in the last second and saving her and giving her the Phoenix powers.
Mhm.
In which I love it when you give a character a spotlight, definitely with this. And it's really enjoyable. There again, Phoenix doesn't really show up until I think like it's episode
it's
1.
the beginning of episode 2 when Phoenix actually rises out of the water.
That's right. That's right. But like the very end of
if you
episode 1,
don't count the flashes that did not translate well to Disney Plus of the Phoenix
oh my gosh
symbol. That is the downside of having to watch this on Disney Plus since I don't have the DVD is all of the editing choices where there's obviously supposed to be like single frame shots do not translate well, and plus Disney Plus darkening every bright shot for the epilepsy people, which I understand, but I would still like the ability to turn that off, please.
That why it was so dark through. It seemed like it was dark throughout.
Yeah, anytime they would show like bright light energy effects. They really did this bad in the previous 2 episodes. Disney Plus literally darkens that so that the flashing lights won't trigger epilepsy.
Yeah.
And people who are susceptible to
an option though,
because I do not have this issue and I would like to see it the way it originally was.
I do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It should be an option to turn that off or on,
and it's not.
It
should be.
Have I
but
mentioned
it's not.
how I don't like Disney? Have I mentioned that? Yeah.
And this is not just a Disney problem. This actually is I'm seeing this in a lot of places.
Yeah.
It is a very common thing to do nowadays for accessibility. I get.
Yeah.
But for those of us who want to see the original, I would like the ability to turn that off, please. But anyway, besides that's my standard rant when it comes to this stuff.
Overall, I enjoyed the episode, or episodes, let's say that. Actually, when I watched last week's episode, or episodes 1 and 2 for EAS, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna continue to watch it because
you probably watched all 5 episodes by now.
Not quite. I think I watched like 4 of them. I think I didn't watch all 5 of them, but oh my gosh, this is just amazing. It's amazing storytelling. Except Charlie, not poor Professor Charlie, not telling anybody anything, even though he kind of knows what's going on. He's not telling anybody what's going on. Bill, I'm telling you everything I know. It's like, no, you're not. You're lying. I can see it right through your bald head. Come on, Wheels. Give me the information.
What they call you, Wheels?
Exactly.
That is what the kid called the kid in the wheelchair in the Burger King Kids Club.
Yeah, it's called Wheels.
Something sort of jumping off that, Jacob.
Yeah,
is I agree that the storytelling with this was well done, and I also like that they still gave each character times to use their powers, because that's something that I enjoy about the X-Men. I don't really care about 4 or 5 characters going into space. I want to see them use their powers. So you're always seeing Wolverine cut things open, and you can Gambit will use cards occasionally. A lot of Jean Grey using her telekinesis, like making people see other things that they shouldn't see. Cyclops, I was surprised Cyclops can stun people with his laser.
Yeah, I'd like to know when he got the stun setting on that thing.
Yeah, phaser to stun.
He also, there's this one moment where he's trying to knock out. It's Dark Professor Xavier or whatever, but he lifts his shades up. It looks like his eyes open, and it waits for his dialogue to be done before it actually shoots the laser.
That.
Like, okay, that's not really how that works.
It's like, okay, so he can open his eyes, no blast effect, but when he wants to, zap.
They forgot it was not one of those episodes where they allowed him to use his actual eyes.
Yeah, that is true.
There have been a couple of those. It's like, powers don't work here. So Cyclops, you're gonna use your eyes again. Yeah. You're welcome.
Oh my God.
The savage line.
Yeah, I liked it for what it was as well. I thought it was interesting. It's fun going back to this. I think it was more nostalgic than it was, oh wow, this is amazing. Where has this been all my life? But that's my take on it as well.
It has been a nice nostalgic trip. Admittedly, a part of the reason this got put in the vote originally was because of X-Men 97 being released. Was it sometime this year?
Yeah, sometime this year.
So, and we wanted to go through it in time for that. Plus, we assumed people wanted to hear it too. But at the same time, we both kind of wanted to watch the show again. So It's been a long time since I had a chance to, especially now that they actually have the episodes in the right order on Disney Plus.
What has your guys' favorite episode been so far?
Well, that was the one with my favorite Russian, as they were in Winchester, New York, trying to find who destroyed the Xavier Mansion, and they thought it was the Russian, but it wasn't the Russian. It was Juggernaut. Also, the Gambit episode.
Yes, the Gambit episode.
Because I knew nothing. I know nothing about Gambit normally. So the fact that we had a whole episode where it featured this was Gambit's backstory, and it's like, huh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, that episode came out 2 weeks after the comics came out.
Yeah.
That it's based on.
Yes.
And then of course a Rogue story.
Yeah, Rogue Story. Oh my gosh, Rogue
Because
Story.
it's nice seeing Carol Danvers get a comeuppance, especially after the MCU.
That's right.
Treats her like a Super Saiyan. But anyway, that is what happens in that movie. She goes Super Saiyan at the end of it. I'm sorry.
She does. I agree. I've never heard someone say she goes Super Saiyan.
And then Rogue puts her in her place.
Yes. Still don't know how Rogue, because I think even in the comics now, Rogue still can fly, but Carol Danvers is no longer stuck in her coma. Don't know how that works.
It's comics.
Well, I mean, Rogue gets to keep the powers, right?
Yes.
Usually when when Rogue steals powers, she has them temporarily, but then they go away after a while. She held on to Carol Danvers for too long, which is why she had them for such a long time, and why Carol Danvers was in a coma for so long.
Oh, I thought she died. I thought she killed Carol Danvers.
No, she was in a coma even in the comics.
Well, she didn't do it right.
That was their excuse to have the other two Ms. Marvel show up at the time. But anyway.
Yes, like Geek Devotion. She held on Ms. Marvel so long that the powers became permanent. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Which still makes no sense to me. It does not follow the logic of those powers. Now, you want to blame it on something silly like, oh, it's because she had the Tesseract or the Space Stone or whatever. It's like, okay, maybe I can accept that, but still.
I don't know.
That's, to me, the best way to introduce the X-Men into the MCU is to have at the end of the Marvels, was it later this year when that comes out? I want Rogue to show up and just take her powers, and then Carol Danvers is just in a coma at the end of the movie. It's like, hey, Rogue's here, and she did what I wanted her to do.
Who would you cast as Rogue, though?
I have no idea. I am at a point now with MCU characters. It's like, don't cast anybody I know. Cast somebody I don't know and have them blow me out of the water, because your writing is not doing that, Marvel.
See, I don't think they can do that because they're not going to get good writers. So they have to cast someone that I know that I'm going to like.
You mean like Harrison Ford as Red Hulk?
Is Harrison Ford going to be Red Hulk?
Yes, because he's playing Bob Thunderbolt Ross after John Hurt died, and that means they're probably doing Red Hulk.
No, I meant someone new,
like not Bob. I called him Bob. Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
That's like the that's the anti-Red Hulk.
Yes, I'm gonna paint these lovely flowers over here.
Let me get some titanium white now. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, do y'all have anything to add before we cut out for the evening?
I mean, 2 + 2 is 4. That's a good thing to add.
So it's not a surprise that next week for our X-Men review, we're going to be looking at the Dark Phoenix Saga Parts 3 and 4.
You mean the Phoenix Saga?
Yeah, the Phoenix Saga Part 3 and 4.
You're getting ahead of yourself, brother.
I just want to see her kick the Shi'ar's butt, okay?
Agreed. I do have to say,
wait, that's not even in the Dark Phoenix Saga. That's much later.
Well, never mind then.
Moving on.
Moving right along. The thing I want to add was Francisco, your background, amazing.
Not that the audio listeners know what it is.
Yeah.
Is the best.
Yes.
I'll get out of the way real quick.
It's one of them.
Best X-Men has ever been. Age of Apocalypse. I know it's like an Elseworld, not really the thing.
Yeah, Joe Madureira.
I love the concept of Magneto heading up to X-Men, because Charles Xavier dies. He's with Rogue somehow. Their son is named Charles. Sabretooth is the main leader of the X-Men with Wild Child here. Like he has to keep him on a leash. You got let's see who else. And Wolverine and Jean Grey are a thing. Wolverine has a hand cut off. I don't know why. I like the new character Blink, or at least she was me in this.
Love Blink.
There's so much. I never finished the whole series. This is like the one like Marvel thing I'd love to get the omnibus of one day is Age of Apocalypse. But the few comics I had, I just adored, and so that's why I'm showing behind me.
Look up the cover for Astonishing X-Men #4. It is freaking amazing. It's Joe Madureira, the same artist who did that. It's just probably one of his best covers he ever did.
But while you're doing that, Francisco, why don't you tell us where we can find you on the internet?
You can find me at retrorewindpodcast.com. Also on Twitter at retro, pretty much everywhere on social media, it's Retro Rewind Pod. But our main site where you can find us reviewing movies and games, me and my co-host, pauljpowers.com. And we usually have a guest host or two join us to review movies and games that are 15 years or older, letting you know whether they're still worth your time today. retrorewindpodcast.com.
Would you believe he's been doing some anime cartoon stuff the last couple weeks, and he did not invite us?
Say what?
Is this what this was a big ambush? I see. Oh, Francisco,
I didn't know about this, but yes.
Why you rate Fire and Ice? Oh, you like Fire and Ice? Oh, come on, just be on the show with us. Oh yeah, have a few laughs. It'll be great.
You act like we didn't have you scheduled on this long before you didn't invite us.
See, you guys don't know this. Drew is a mastermind. He's like Mr. Sinister. He just has all these plans. He's ready to go. He's like he's Tetrising all of his.
Dude, you did better than me in the Tetris tournament, so hush. I never beat your score.
All right, well, I didn't say anything about that, but
no, I take it back. I did actually beat that first score you submitted.
Oh yeah, you did
for like 2 days, and then we all got trounced by.
Yeah, Daryl's like, let me just drop this 300,000 score. What the junk, Daryl? How'd you do it?
Anyway, y'all have anything else before we hit the outro?
So I'm looking at Astonishing X-Men #4. Oh wait, this is 2004.
No,
is there like a certain one I should be looking at, because that one doesn't look all that
Astonishing X-Men. The Astonishing X-Men run back in the early 90s. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fourth.
Is it the one with Rogue sort of looking
exactly?
Like this? Yeah.
I love that cover.
Anyway, I need to bring the episode to a close.
I think I actually had that one. Yeah,
I've got 2 of them now.
In the meantime,
I want you all to remember 3.5.
In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
This is Francisco.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day.
I try.
His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759.
I'll update that one day.
His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Thanks, Roy.
Francis 3.5.